Today, we're not just going to talk about focus, we are going to engineer it. We're going to take it apart piece by piece and rebuild it from the ground up so you can control it. First things first, we have to absolutely shatter a flawed belief that you've probably held for years. We're all told that focus is like a light switch. You sit down, you flip it on, and you just start working. But the science, the actual neurobiology, tells us that's a complete lie. The truth? Your brain's ability to focus is an engine, a high-performance biological engine that needs a very, very specific warm-up protocol before it can run at full throttle. And that engine, it has one simple, unbreakable rule. And this rule is the key to unlocking everything for you. See, the reason you might spend the first 20 minutes of a work session fidgeting, checking your phone, getting up for coffee, it's not a lack of discipline. It's because you're not respecting this one paradox. The first 3 minutes truly determine the next 3 hours. So here's our roadmap to get you from that place of constant frustration into a state of flow. We'll start with the paradox itself, diagnose what a cold start brain really looks like, then I'll give you the 180-second reboot system, we'll look at the science of why it works so well, learn the exact ritual, and finally, you'll be able to engineer your own focus. Okay, section 1. Let's get right into it. The daily struggle to concentrate, it's not a personal failure. It is not a character flaw. The problem isn't your willpower, I promise. Here's the core idea you need to grasp. Your brain is a state-dependent system. It's not a computer that can just instantly switch from one program to another without any lag. It is a biological engine, and its performance, your ability to think clearly, to solve problems, to be creative, it's 100% dependent on its current chemical and physiological state. Think about a world-class sprinter, right? You wouldn't expect them to just roll out of bed and instantly break a world record. Of course not. They have to warm up, they have to stretch, get their blood flowing, they need to physically change their state. To get high-performance output, you have to first create a high-performance internal state. And when you try to ignore that biological reality, you get this: cognitive whiplash. It's that awful, jarring feeling of mental friction when you jump from, say, scrolling through a chaotic social media feed straight into a task that needs deep thought. Your mind feels like a car just spinning its wheels in the mud. You're making a lot of noise, burning a lot of energy, but you're getting zero traction. That feeling of being totally unable to lock on to your work, it actually has a name. And it's not you being lazy, it's a hardware problem. So in this section, let's diagnose exactly what is happening inside your brain during those first painful 15 minutes of work. We're gonna put a name to that invisible wall you keep smacking into, the wall of transition friction. Do any of these look familiar? I bet they do. That initial fidget phase where you're adjusting your chair, tidying your desk, getting a glass of water, literally anything but the task itself. Then there's the cognitive drag, that feeling like you're trying to think through sludge. Or that brain fog where your thoughts just refuse to connect. And of course, the classic sign, rereading the exact same sentence 5 times and still not knowing what it says. These aren't signs of a weak will. They are the clear, predictable symptoms of a brain that is fighting to transition state. And look at this. This shows you the real cost. In the first 15 minutes of a typical cold start, 80%, 80, of your brain's most precious energy isn't even going towards your work. It's being burned just fighting distractions and overcoming the friction of that transition. It is a massive metabolic drain before you've even typed a single word. And all that wasted effort leads directly to this: executive fatigue. You are literally using up your best cognitive fuel, your best willpower for the day, just to get to the starting line. So by the time your brain is finally ready to engage with the task, your battery's already half empty. It's like trying to run a marathon on cold muscles. It's exhausting and it just kills your productivity. Okay, but there is a solution, and it's a simple, elegant system designed to solve this biological problem at its root. This isn't about trying harder, it's about working smarter with your biology. This is the launch pad for your focus. 180 seconds. That's it, just 3 minutes. That is all it takes to manually reboot your attention, to recruit the right parts of your brain, and to lock yourself into a single focus channel. We are going to stop waiting to feel focused and start building the feeling itself. And this is how we do it, the Neural Activation Protocol. Now, this isn't some mindset trick, it's a biological checklist. It's a 3-layer system designed to engineer the state of focus. First, sensory narrowing, to tell your brain to filter out all the noise. Second, a low-stakes logic prime to get a small, painless cognitive win. And third, the micro-intent anchor to connect that mental state to a physical action. This is the official system ramp-up for your mind. So now for the really cool part. the why. Why does this simple 3-minute protocol have such a huge effect? Well, let's look under the hood at the neuroscience. What we're really doing here is greasing the neural tracks for high-speed performance. See, this is a real physiological process. You are directly influencing several core brain systems. You're regulating your cortical arousal, basically telling the smart decision-making part of your brain to wake up and get online. You're engaging your reticular activating system. Think of it as your brain's bouncer, giving it a VIP list so it only pays attention to your task. You are literally increasing neuronal signal gain, which is like turning up the volume on important thoughts and turning down the static of distraction. And all of this triggers the most important piece of the puzzle, the winner effect. The winner effect is a total game changer. By completing a tiny, simple, low-stakes task, you give your brain a microdose of dopamine. It's a chemical signal that says, hey, we're on the right track, we're winning here. And that small victory physically lowers the activation energy, the sheer mental effort required for the real, more complex task that follows. You're not just motivating yourself, you are chemically preparing your brain for success. You are stacking the deck in your own favor. All right, we've covered the what and the why. Now, let's get to the how. This is your exact coaching plan to take this theory and put it into practice right now. This timeline is your new pre-work ritual. Seriously, think of it as the mandatory warm-up for your cognitive engine. For the first 60 seconds, we hit a sensory lock to kill your brain's distracted scanning response. The next 60 seconds, we create a logic spark to get that painless dopamine win. And in the final 60 seconds, we establish a micro-intent to anchor our focus with a physical move. Okay, let's break it down step by step. For that first minute, sensory lock. Put on headphones. Even if there's no music, this action signals a change of state to your brain. Then, close your eyes for 30 seconds. Why? Because your vision uses up a huge amount of brain power. Closing them drastically reduces the cognitive load and tells your nervous system to calm down. Then, open your eyes and just focus on a single, non-distracting spot on the wall. You are manually contracting your awareness, signaling to your brain that it's time to go inward. Next up, minute 2, the logic spark. This is where you get that crucial microdose of dopamine. Don't think about the entire project, that's overwhelming. Just define the very first tiny physical action you will take, and you have to write it down. Not write the report, but something super specific like, I am typing the first 3 bullet points of the introduction. The act of writing it down transforms a vague idea into a concrete command. This is your painless win. And finally, minute 3, the micro-intent anchor. Listen, this is the most important step of all. As soon as you've written down that first physical action, you do it immediately. No hesitation, don't check your email one last time, don't adjust your chair again, just do it now. This physical action is what anchors the mental prime you've just created. It turns your intention into real, kinetic momentum. Okay, let's bring this all home. This final section is all about reframing how you approach your work, from being a victim of your distractions to becoming the architect of your own attention. It is about owning your state. Here is the fundamental truth, the one thing I want you to walk away with. You are not at the mercy of your moods. Focus is not some magical gift you just have to wait for. It is a physiological state, and it can be reliably, predictably engineered through a deliberate ritual. By mastering this 3-minute ritual, you completely change the game. That elusive state of flow, or being in the zone, it stops being some happy accident that you hope for. It becomes a destination, a place you can choose to visit, on command. It's the difference between hoping for a sunny day and learning how to build a fire. You get to create your own light, your own warmth, your own focus. So this is your new mantra. This is the phrase to burn into your mind. Before every single demanding task, just remember this. Prime the engine to win the work. Stop fighting with your cold start brain, just give it the warm-up it needs to perform. So, my question to you is, what is the first task you will prime your engine for today? Your challenge is to execute this 3-minute ritual right now, before you do anything else. Feel that friction just dissolve. Go engineer your focus.